The world is a beautiful but challenging place to live. And let's face it, life hits hard sometimes. So if you find your hopes and dreams and mental well-being needs a boost, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to Inspire Us with your host, J. Paul Nadeau, a former hostage negotiator turned motivational speaker and acclaimed author of Take Control of Your Life. And now, here's your host, J. Paul Nadeau.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Inspire Us. You know, we don't have to look too far for some amazing people. They are all over the place. Some stand out that much more. And my next guest is one of those people. He goes the distance to help so many others, and he does so out of the goodness of his heart. He is an outstanding individual and also a casting director in Toronto, Canada. It is my pleasure to introduce you to Stephen Mann. Hello, Stephen, and welcome to Inspire Us.
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for having me, my man.
Always nice to have you. I've known you for several years, and I've known you as a stand-up guy, someone who you help a lot of people. Even back in 2020, when we all went into lockdown, people were looking to you. You started, along with others, the Stay-at-Home Heroes in partnership with eBoss Canada, and it was a Canadian Isolation Short Film Festival that you were involved in, and all these wonderful projects to lift the spirits of so many people. So you really have, over the years, been a real servant to so many people with a kind heart and just moving forward, man. No, I just love the stuff that you're doing.
Thank you.
You're touching a lot of lives. How did this all start for you? You serve people. You would go out of your way to give someone a meal. I mean, that's just the kind of person you are. How did this all start for you, Stephen?
To be honest, it started for me. I mean, I think I've always been an empathetic person and I've always really loved people. But as far as, taking the right action and actually becoming more active, I got to give a shout out to a dear friend of mine. His name is Flint Eagle. He's a big stuntman here in Toronto. And I'd say about 4, maybe 5 years ago on Christmas Eve, when I was married, we went to this pub in Leslieville, and I met Flint there. And we just started talking, and he was giving away free Christmas dinners to people. And people that we were outside talking, and people would walk by, and he would invite them in for a free meal. And I was like, wow, that is so wonderful. And we talked about doing something together. I said, Flint, I would love to do this with you. This is so great. And that just kind of was the match that lit it. And I realized that I can do stuff and I want to do stuff. And sort of, I just started to get really active. We started to do regular Christmas fundraisers for the Red Door Shelter, Thanksgiving dinner for the Red Door Shelter. And as you know, we work in a community of creatives, actors, producers, and such. So everybody was really supportive and continue to do that. I see a GoFundMe, I throw it out there. This time has been very difficult though, because number one, we can't go out. And, a couple of times I posted on Facebook, Thanksgiving, if anybody doesn't have a meal or needs anything, like reach out to me. And some people did, and I sent them money. But the amount of need, it's kind of frustrating because we're in a pandemic. My business is down 50%. You still want to help, but you really can't help everybody. But I just always have felt that if you can make a difference in one person's life or make their week or even their day a little less stressful, then you've done something. And I gotta shout out my buddy Flint Eagle, who really showed me that, it's one thing to feel it and it's another thing to do it. And I started to do it. And it's quite addictive helping people because it really makes you feel good about yourself. And it just gives me a little bit more of a purpose, I guess. And I just really like to be there for people and help people in any way I can, whether they're actors or completely unaffiliated with our industry. So thank you, Flynn. I love you, man. And you really showed me a lot that night, for sure.
Well, Flynn, if you're listening and when you're listening, yes, thank you very, very much. And
he's a good dude.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'd love to talk to him. And Stephen, you hit on a couple of things. When you're generous or when you give your time, when you give your efforts, whatever it is, it does come back to you and makes you feel good, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And, you can call it karma, whatever you want to call it. you can't go wrong by being kind to others and making a difference in somebody's life and making them feel better, especially now, which is tough because like I haven't really left my house since March. And there's so many things I would have loved to do. Like, God, I used to love going with my best friend Andrew to Walmart for our toy drive. And we'd each, if you spend $400 on toys at Walmart, you're walking out there with carts of toys.
Yeah.
And, and I loved it. And we can't do that right now. So I'm really looking forward to all of this going away and being able to get out in the world and make a difference.
Aren't we all? But you know what? Even though we are in lockdown right now, you
Yeah.
still continue to make a difference in people's lives. And I watch your posts, and you're always encouraging, and you got something new and creative, and you throw out these great ideas, and people respond. So that in itself is
Yeah.
reaching people with acts of kindness and such. What is it that gets Stephen out of bed in the morning? What gets you out of bed and gets you motivated or unmotivated? What is it that gets you out of bed?
It's a tough question because, after it's really funny. I got to be very candid with you, Paul, as I usually am. At the beginning of the pandemic, I was really motivated to help people and really motivated to make a difference and because it was so new and it was so frightening. And, since the first 5 months of this pandemic, I really excelled. And I never had been busier. That film festival I funded with my own money and my team funded with their own money. We did it to get people creative, to give them something to do, to take their mind off of it. And I got a lot of wonderful messages especially from the parents of kids that shot films. I mean, it was lovely. But I got to tell you that the last few months of the pandemic have been really difficult for me. It's some days I really don't want to get out of bed, Paul. And it becomes very monotonous and routine when you wake up, you get your coffee, you go upstairs, you take a shower, and I'm back in this chair. Like this
Hmm.
chair is where I live, and I should be exercising more. I should be going out for walks and such, but I kind of fell into that rabbit hole, a little bit of self-medicating and drinking a lot of wine, and just trying to numb it at times. And again, I know me and I know what my limits are, and I know it's been a lot more difficult the last 4 months, but myself and my team are doing great work. We're still busy. I mean, it takes us, double the amount of time to do a job now, but I've got the best team in the business, and work, and more so my work family is what keeps me going, and my kids, pretty much. So other than that, like I'm kind of enjoying the fruits of other people rather than my own, if that makes
Mm,
sense.
it does. No, no, it really does make sense. And what you're describing, I think many of us are going through is this COVID burnout that
Oh,
keeps us in bed or that keeps us unmotivated. And it really takes a lot of energy to focus and do something creative. Otherwise, we fall into this pit. And the further we fall into the pit, the more difficult it is to follow through on something positive, right?
absolutely. And we've heard this many times. Mental health is real, and we struggle. I struggle. I fight with depression and anxiety. I think a lot of people do. Maybe some people aren't as open about it. I'm really open about it. Like, had some moments, man, straight up, where I was just like, oh God, like I can't, but you have to.
Yeah, you do. And thank you so much for sharing everything that you have about that, because your voice is that of so many people out there. As I said, there's so many people out there that are struggling with their mental wellness, their physical wellness, and the fear of the unknown is something that's gripping us all. Um, are there things that you turn to, Stephen, that does give you a great amount of joy during your day? Is there something that you do regularly to lift your spirits?
I like Barolo and I like Bordeaux, but I'd say, my kid, my youngest, who I have half the time, really keeps me going and just gives me purpose. My eldest son is home now for the holidays. He was in film school in Montreal. That's made a huge difference. I mean, family first, right? I've
Mm.
got a great relationship with my ex-wife. So I still kind of feel I still have a dysfunctional, functional family. And I think that is sort of what keeps me going. And also sports, I mean, everybody that knows I'm a diehard Raptor fan. Like
Yeah.
my favorite thing was to finish work at 6, boot home, get my kid, go get a beer at the corner. He'll eat some edamame, and take an Uber to the game with my son, and it was the best. And it's like the thought of sitting amongst 22,000 people or whatnot, like it's like crazy, you know? So, but sports has made a big difference. Football, and because I'm a sports junkie, so it does give you something to root for and to enjoy. But listen, at the end of the day, I'm so blessed. I'm working. I have my kids are healthy. My family's healthy. You know, my father had COVID. He recovered, thank God.
Thank God.
You know, sometimes we have to look at the positives, and it's hard because there's so much negative, and it's so easy to go and to find the darkness rather than the light. It can get dark really fast. So yeah,
Yeah, it
but
really
my
can.
you know,
Oh, go ahead.
no, no, yeah, please.
No, I was going to say yes. It can get really dark really fast, and you hit on the idea of being grateful, of finding things to be grateful for, and I think that that's one thing that far too many of us are not doing that. We're not waking up and just saying, hey, number one, I woke up. That's something to be grateful for. Number
Yeah,
two, I have a roof. We tend to think about the big things in life, that we're grateful for, and we might go through five or six moments of gratitude. Okay, I'm grateful for this, my kids, my this. How about for the last 30 minutes? For example, I'm grateful for you being in my life right now, because right now this is the most important moment of my life, is
right,
spending time with you.
right.
Right now we can make a difference in each other's lives. So I think we really have to go into that gratefulness for not only the big things but the little things.
Totally. But it's hard, right? Like again, sometimes we'll watch the news or we'll hear a tragic story of somebody young that lost their lives, and then we're thinking to ourselves, "Oh shit, I got to make changes. Look how lucky I am. I'm so blessed. I'm alive. I'm awake. I'm productive." And then, it trails off again. It's just like when your kid is young and you yell at him to clean his room, and his room is clean for a week, and then all of a sudden it's a shit show. So it's hard, it's hard to continue to stay positive, but with people like you in my life and other people, I've got a great circle of friends, and I have people that I can reach out to. I have people that reach out to me, and I also reach out to others. And I know a lot of people that are really making a huge difference on social media. Like I kind of have been writing a lot more shotgun. I'm not nearly as active. I mean, I obviously I post a lot of comedy because that's sort of where my heart is writing comedy. But um, shout out to my friend Bobby Del Rio, who is always very uplifting on social, and everybody else that just randomly messages people, "You okay?" Like it means so much just to randomly say, "You good?"
Yeah.
Like that means a lot. It's like somebody is thinking about you, and that little gesture is so fucking important. Like it's just so random. Like you see somebody, just reach out, like, "You good?" It just
Yeah.
means a lot. It means a lot.
And yeah, thank you for sharing that, because you're absolutely right. I think more of us ought to be doing that, reaching out and just connecting with one another, because being alone, for a lot of people who are in this pandemic living alone,
Yeah.
it can get awfully lonely. When you
Yeah.
can't see family, you can't see your friends, you can't socialize. We have the internet, thank God for that. But
Yeah.
yes, it takes an effort to continuously work the muscle. And I think one of the important things is when we say, "Oh, I'm so grateful," but your comparison to the messy room after a week, you kind of let it go. I think that's a muscle. The work that we put into being happy, I think, has to be a consistent journey of doing it every day
For
until it
sure.
until it becomes strong. And so, yeah, thank you for that. Now, tell me about your comedy writing. How's that going?
You know what? I've never. When I was younger, I had pursued it a lot more. I started in radio, and I wrote for a couple of TV shows, but I sort of fell ass backwards into casting. But I still have things that I want to accomplish. I still want to write a book. I mean, anytime I can write something really silly, and my humor is, I think it's a bit of an acquired taste. But it's always nice when you can make somebody laugh. Laughter is so important, and for me, it's always been like a little bit of a high to make somebody laugh. To for somebody to say that's really funny is, it's like it's incredible. So I enjoy that. I just like being silly, and I like to be playful, and I like to be just have a good time as much as I can as far as just being silly. Like I relate really well to my 6-year-old because we behave the same way. Like a lot of times, I'll get mad at my kid for doing things, and I'll be like, "Wait, you do that too?" And it's totally true. Like I'll sing crazy in the shower and walk around the house singing and yelling and acting up, and then when he does it, I get upset with him. And then my ex-wife was like, Steven, he's you. Like, you do that. So
And sometimes we do have to take a look at what we do, and
absolutely.
yeah, and stop the comparison, right?
Yep.
What is one thing that you would be willing to share with people that people might not know about you, Stephen?
That they may not know about me. Oh, wow. That is such a tough question. And the only reason it's tough is because I'm pretty transparent. I wear everything on both lapels. Like I have nothing to hide. I mean, I've been very candid about that. I do suffer from depression, and I do have things that I deal with. I had a terrible issue with my wife, with fertility that we've helped a lot of people with. And that's something that's very passionate for me, because what I went through when I was married was 3 years of absolute hell, 6 miscarriages,
Mm,
an ectopic pregnancy, over $100,000 spent, 4 different clinics. I
mm,
mean, it put such a strain on our relationship at the time. So, when I see my son, my youngest son, he's such a gift. So I don't know if people know that I went through that. So when I hear about other people's stories, I'm the first one to say, oh shit, listen to me. Like I did all that. I went through all that. And I was fortunate enough to find the right place where we never had a fertility issue. It was an immunology issue. And the only reason we got to that was we used a clinic that was far out of our zone, like up in Newmarket in Stouffville. And they are affiliated with a clinic in California that does certain tests that they don't do here, yada, yada, yada. Once I found the right spot, it was a year from our first meeting. A year later, my son was born, and it cost me, other than the consultation, we did no. I mean, I did in vitro a couple of times. Like it was crazy. So when I hear about people that are going through it, I know what it feels like. It's crazy. And once you go through it after the sixth time, you're just like, good God. And then, the whole issue, well, maybe we adopt. It's like, well, you know how difficult it is to
mm.
adopt. Like, it's not like you can just go up to a vending machine. Okay, I like that one. Put your money in, and like it's a process. It's a crazy process. So that's one thing people may not know is that fertility and stuff like that I'm very passionate about, and very, like, I want to help people because I know what it feels like. I've been through it. I've been through the joy of like getting the call from the doctor, you're pregnant, only to go to an ultrasound, like 6 times. Like, and then after, the funny thing is then my wife had to have emergency surgery and have a tube removed. So now we're back at square one minus a tube.
Mm,
So I'm
right.
like, how are we going to get, like, how is this going to happen? But again, there's a lot of misconceptions. I found that most of the fertility clinics in Toronto, if any of you have been, like, you go there, you take a number, like you're at the butcher. They do, the blood test, the standard stuff. They give you some vitamins. They, for me, they sent me into a little private room, some movies, nothing compelling, nothing like ET or anything like that. And it's just like it's just a cycle. But there's so much more to it. There's so many other things that I don't think a lot of the doctors personally have the time, when they have that many patients, to dig in and forensically examine what the problem was.
Mhm.
So we wasted a lot of time, but this was the soul that God gave me that's upstairs in my room watching TV. So I don't know what was before him, but I'm really happy with what I got,
Oh yeah. Well,
you
what a
know?
what a great story. It does show a lot of things. You do have a miracle
Oh
upstairs
God,
at
yeah.
your
Oh
place
yeah.
right now, and I see the connection between you and your son, which is so beautiful. The two of you, yeah, you are alike. And I see it in the pictures too.
Yeah. He's my bestie. He, like, honestly, my best friend, other than my friend Andrew, is a 7-year-old. Like, he's my everything. Like, he just keeps me going. And yeah, without him, I just don't know. And I understand certain people don't want kids, and but for me, that kid is just like, he just makes my day. Like, he just makes me laugh, and he drives me crazy. And he sometimes, like, remote learning now, like, I suck at grade one math. Like, I just do. Like, I'm just not good with doing homework for grade one. Like, they make it so complicated. I'll call my girls at Mann Casting, and I'm like, can you guys help me with this? Like, I didn't know what a Venn diagram was. I confess, I had no idea. So they sent me these circles, and I was like, I don't know what any of this means.
Oh.
So yeah, but I think I'll excel in grade two. I think I'll do
There
a lot
you
better.
go. Well, you know what? You're going to school now. So, yeah,
Yeah,
don't worry. Just keep it up, Stephen. You'll be
I'm going to
fine.
try. Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah. And thank you. A lot of listeners out there, if they are having difficulty having a family, I'm sure they're going to be encouraged by what you just said. And
Yeah, and reach out to me. Like I have some connects and some information that I would be happy to share. Like it can get really dark. It's, like when I grew up, I knew I wanted to be. I think I wanted to be a father more than I wanted to be a husband. To be quite honest, I wanted children really badly, and the thought of not being able to for somebody that wants it so badly was just devastating for me, for my wife at the time. But yeah, so I'm very passionate about it. So if anybody has any questions or like get at me, reach out to me. It's something that I'd love to help you with.
oh, that's fantastic. Thank you so much for
Yeah.
sharing that with you. Now, can we turn around to what is happening in our industry now, in the acting
Yeah.
industry, in the performing arts?
It looks like we're an essential service because we're still working. But it's getting really difficult. And there are certain things that I love. The casting specs are so diverse now. And I'm in one lane, which is commercials. Like I do one TV show, I'll do a couple of films a year for friends of mine that are directors and such. But my bread and butter is commercials. And I thought we were making a lot of progress. And then I think we were making progress. And then when everything happened with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, everything that sort of went down, it really opened up a lot of people's eyes to how unfair the industry can be for people of color. And I see such a change. Like it's so different now. It's amazing. And I mean, if you watch TV commercials, please like look at what we're seeing. We're seeing a really authentic representation of society. Like I used to say to clients back in the day, like for certain casting places, go to a food court. Like go to a food court, see like people have like everybody works together. Like it's no biggie. So I'm really proud of that. Everything is online, but there's a lot of uncertainty. Like I haven't been in my office since March. I'm still paying rent.
Mm.
Haven't been in there, have no desire to be in there right now, obviously. I think the biggest thing is when this is over, have we become conditioned to this? I know that there's nothing that replaces interaction, but we're getting it done. And I know that my team is, listen, I'm prejudiced. They're the best. They're the best in the business. We run it so smooth. We've been doing it from the jump. We would give seminars to agency producers on how we make it work. Everybody, Dan and Ashley and Sarah and Katie and Clodagh and Jess and Katie and Brendan, all of them. I love you guys. You guys have really stepped up and the hours are insane. We have to book backups on every job. We have to coordinate COVID testing. It's a lot more difficult. But it's also great because there are a lot of people that have become actors that were never actors, right?
Hmm.
Because we need to have people bubbled. We're starting to do a little mix and matching as long as there's COVID testing. But for me personally, I won't do a job if there's not COVID testing and the people aren't bubbled or they're closer than 6 feet. Like I just won't touch it.
Good.
I can't carry that if God forbid. And I'm seeing cases. We had one job where the girl showed up to her fitting and a COVID test, and she tested positive and was completely asymptomatic. So we had to replace her the day before the shoot. So it's difficult, Paul. I'm not going to lie. There's a lot of admin that goes on behind the scenes. And shout out to Shasta and Andrew at Powerhouse and Shasta Jigsaw, because I know what they're going through. It's tough. And it's also tough because our extended family, we don't have access to. I used to love being in my office, listening to music, working, looking through my window, seeing friendly faces, hugging people, talking to people. Like these people were a huge part of my life.
Hmm.
And, it's just so different now because we see them on Zoom. I have a better idea of people's architecture tastes and tastes in art. There are a lot of people that like sailboats, pictures, and it's just funny to get that inside look into people's homes. But I really miss just seeing people. And but thank God, Paul, we're working and we're working regularly. It's just we're doing half the work and it's taking double the time. But again, no complaints. Like thank God we're
Yeah.
working.
Yeah, and yeah, that's so true. We do miss that human interaction, the connection, and I can't imagine what it must be like for someone like yourself, directors having to go through, tons and tons of tapes, not seeing people, producers not seeing people. Everybody is hurting so much.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, what kind of advice could you give actors right now who are experiencing difficulty, certainly. They want to be in front of
Mhm.
someone auditioning. What is it that you can give to
You know
them?
what? I would say just technically, stay on point. Make sure you've got a proper mic and a ring light, and make sure that you're able to get yourself tapes done properly. Make sure you tell your agent who you're bubbled with, who your kids are, who your boyfriend is, who your girlfriend is, who your partner is. Like, because agents need to know that, because we're no longer mixing and matching often. Like, we're doing a job now where there's COVID testing. So I may have, guy A with girl B after the COVID tested. But normally it's people that are in the same household. It's a little more difficult now because there's no more bubbles. We're really not supposed to be outside of our own home. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So like my bubble has always been quite small, but I don't really see anybody. So I would say make sure your agent knows, who's in your life, who's in your household. Just take a quick Polaroid or iPhone picture and maybe send it to the agent for them to upload onto Actors Access as well. I mean, we need you guys, and there's a lot of work still. Like I'm actually amazed at how much production is still going, and I'm so proud of how production companies and agencies are handling themselves. They're doing a great job. Like, we want to work, we have to work to pay our bills and to keep a roof over our heads. And the way that our community is facilitating that has been very responsible and very impressive. And for that, I think we're all really, really lucky. And the other thing is, I would say this before the pandemic, 10 years ago, before COVID hit. Um, I would say, you're going to struggle with the same things. You've chosen a creative outlet where rejection is behind door number one, usually. And just you've consented to that. Own it, be aware of it. Don't let it get you down. Stay positive, stay active, be yourself. Like, you knew what you were getting into. This is a tough business, and not a lot of people are able to sustain themselves from this alone. So you do it because you love it. You have to love it. So I would just say, just stay positive, get your self tapes done properly, get them uploaded in time. There's a lot of work and there's a lot of opportunities still. Thank God there are so many businesses that are shut down. We're open.
Yeah, and we are an essential service because everybody loves entertainment. Everybody needs entertainment. We need our performers out there, and a lot of people don't realize how much hard work it is, and but how valuable it is. We just have to go to Netflix and say, "Well, I've already seen that. I've already
Right,
seen that. When's the new episode coming out?" That kind of thing. So, yeah, thank
right.
you for sharing that.
And everybody has an outlet. Like, I've always said this, like, there's so much media, like YouTube, Facebook. I don't do TikTok. I'm thinking about trying it, but all these platforms, like, if you've got a great idea, create a vlog or a blog, or like keep creative, stay in the game. Even though you may fall back a bit, there are outlets for you to show people your creativity. If you've got a great idea, you don't have to go to Netflix and pitch it. Produce it yourself. Produce an online show. Like, it's all possible. Listen, I had no idea what it took to create an online film festival. We worked around the clock for months. It cost thousands of dollars. I mean, I don't think anybody to this day, I have not seen an online production that was close to ours, with live directors in New York that were talking in our ear, cutting from cameras. It was really difficult. We did it. I'm so proud of that. There was also a lot of pain for me with that, the way things played out. I saw a lot of darkness in our industry, and a lot of individuals that were very mean and hurtful, and it still has affected me. Like, somebody said, "Are you going to do it again?" And listen, Paul, I love helping people. I'll never do it again. I don't
Hmm.
think. I'm glad I did it. I love doing it. And to go back to your original point, guys, do it. I see a lot of people doing it, doing films. Like, do what makes you happy, challenge yourself. I never thought I'd be able to pull that off. I never did. It was such a huge task. And shout out to everybody that participated. Will Chang, Jess Moran, the whole team. Everybody gave their blood, sweat, and tears to pull this off, and we did. And we made mistakes, no biggie. But I just wish our community would have shown me a little bit, or us a little bit more love and compassion with regards to errors we made, instead of accentuating all the shit and not the positive. But live and learn, and you can do it. Like, you can do a film festival, you could do a sketch show, you could do stand up, you can do podcasts. There's so many outlets for everybody. Like, I encourage you, do it. You'll feel better about yourself. You'll feel more creative. Get your juices going, and it'll lead to other things, because there's so much fucking talent in this city. My God.
I think what you guys did was remarkable. I think
Thank you.
what you guys did was uplifting, and it wasn't meant to be such a big thing. But it was, hey, here we are, we're in a pandemic, and what can we do to uplift people? And that's what you did.
I
And
tried.
yeah, no, you did. And don't knock yourself for that, man. Everybody did. There,
No, I feel a lot better about it now. I mean, God, 4 or 5 months ago, I was just crushed, but I feel really good about it. I mean, I still look back at what we accomplished. I'm proud of the team. I'm proud of what we did, and I'm really proud of the creative films and the community, what they accomplished and what they did. Because like this community is my family. Like I've grown up in this industry. Like
mm,
there are times when I'm prepping a job and I'll type a name on, like back before the pandemic, and like goes, oh, Paul Nadeau, okay, cool, great. I get to see Paul tomorrow. Like the amount of people that I so looked forward to hugging, seeing, shooting the shit with. Like, God, I mean, this is my family. These people are my friends and family, and I miss them all so much. It's insane.
yeah, I think we all do, and we're gonna get back there one day. And
I hope so.
I know we will. It's going to be a little bit different, but if we take a look at every pandemic that has come and gone, uh, people gathered after the pandemic was done, and things went to normal. It's going to history repeats itself, and
Can
so
you imagine going through polio without Netflix? Like, how the hell did they? How did they do it?
I don't know.
No, no, no Prime, no Crave.
I
All you got is polio.
That's it. I have no idea how they got through, but they did.
Of
That's the
course,
thing. We are resilient as a human race, and we will
absolutely,
get through this, and we will be back to a normal. We will, and I truly
absolutely.
believe that. I don't want to keep you too long, Stephen, but I'm going to ask you what's in store for you next. What are you going to start writing that book? It's in you. Are you going to start?
Yeah, I've started a little bit. Like I have a lot of stuff in my head. I just like right now, I just want to get our jobs done well. I want the clients to be happy, and I want my team, the people who I love the most, to have a roof over their head, food on their table, to take care of them, and that's really the most important. And that my children and my family are healthy, and just really like we've been talking offline a little bit, the last little while, and
Yeah.
it's actually helped me because I realize that, it's just a simple, like a little bit of a tweak, and it's really easy to go dark, and it's really easy to self-loathe and to feel sorry for yourself and to feel so like how like there are times I wonder like when will it end? Like I remember when it started, I was like, people were like, oh, June. I'm like, no way. Like I knew that this was going to be effed up. I knew it would be, but I didn't think that we'd be here with not like we talk about the vaccine rollout, then you have the anti-vaxxers and the this and that. Like there's so much craziness. This pandemic has exposed our inner selves, a lot of people, and that's cool. We can agree to disagree. We don't have to mesh per se for me to respect you and to live and let live. But it's troubling, and I don't know. I really don't, Paul. Like I'm not trying to be negative, but like I don't know how it's gonna unfold. Like I have no problem, in the future wearing masks. Like if we did this 5 years ago, you wake up. Like I would go to my office and I see a producer I hadn't seen in a long time, and they'd go to hug me, and I would do the fist. Like no, I woke up not feeling well. But now it'd be like second nature. Put on a mask, right? Like if you want to go
Mm,
to work, put on a mask. So
mhm.
those things are great. I think we've really appreciated. I think most of us have learned to appreciate how lucky we are in this industry to be working. I just don't want people to lose sight of empathy and compassion. Those are the most important things, to feel for other people, not just yourself. And
Mm.
that's really important. And I love people, and I love helping people. And it's just a big part of my life. And I really look forward to doing more of it and being able to do it a little bit freer.
Stephen,
Mhm.
you are loved, my friend.
Oh, so are
And
you, buddy.
listen, anytime you want to reach out to me, you reach out to me. I'll be here for you. And
Ditto.
remember all the good that you've done in the community
Oh,
and
thank
how
you.
many people you've helped. And the heart that you have is one that we should all aspire to have. You have a great heart.
Thank
And
you.
don't be hard on yourself, my friend. We'll keep in touch. And to all the listeners out there, Stephen is continues to be a remarkable man who's done such
Oh,
good
thank
for
you.
our community, and I
And
want
we'll
to thank
continue to
you.
do so. I love this community. I love the people I work with.
Yeah.
If anybody needs me, like if anybody need like just I know we're ending it now, but like
Oh
sometimes you can
no.
just look on social and you can sort of see the tone of people's posts and such, and or you'll get a message. And I have friends that I've reached out to that if you need an ear, like it's so important to just have each other's backs and to just a simple "you good." It means so much when I get it, when I give it to others. Like we really need to. The world is sort of like here and here, right? As far as where we're at, like it's almost like Democrat and Republican, almost like it's so
Right.
split. I know what side I'm on. I'm going to care for that side, but I'll also care for the other side. And if I'm saying this very candidly, if anybody out there needs me or needs an ear or needs a laugh or needs help or doesn't have food, like if I can help you, I will. I will help. And that is the best medicine for me. And try it. You'll see how incredible it. And it doesn't have to be fiscal. It's just an ear. It's just attention. It means so much to whoever's on the receiving end. It really does.
And we all need that now. Thank
Yeah.
you so much,
Thank you,
Stephen.
buddy. I love you, Paul.
I love you,
appreciate
man. Thank you.
You got it.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another insightful episode. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and leave your comments. For more information, check out our website at www.inspireus.ca. Remember, it's not what happens to us that matters most. It's how we respond to what happens to us that does. Stay strong and resilient.